everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are missing one of our lovely ladies. She is currently driving home. We have been yelling at her to drive safely, so she'll pop in when she gets home. I'm sure rush hour is not fun in Vegas, so Tugs will be with us shortly. Hail to the chat. I see so many familiar faces. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate y'all's support for this being at a very early time. This is a one-time deal. Just have a lot going on today. From here on out, this stream will be at, I know it's 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I can't remember what that translates to in Central, but it will be at a different time from here on out. This early time was a one-time deal. So thank you all so much for being here and supporting this new venture of mine, talking about femininity and womanhood and all those things. So good evening, ladies. How are the both of you?
Good. Yeah. My hair's wet. It looks great.
So's mine. Mine is still dry.
I think you both look lovely. You're wearing your smiles very well.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. I just realized we're both in green.
I know. We should have told Tugs to wear green.
You're never going to believe what color shirt I'm wearing. Legitimately. No. Hang on. I will take a picture right now of the shirt I'm wearing, and I will put it in the Twitter DMs. And hang on. And then you can...
That is uncanny.
I mean, granted, mine has
if Tugs is in green.
Right?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Funny if she shows up in green.
That's so weird.
Okay. Hold on. I'm sending it.
All right. So I want to start off the stream really fast with a huge congratulations to Young Ripa, to Eric July for launching the Ripaverse today. Oh my gosh, what is he sitting at, Lady G, right now? Almost 800,000 or over?
Ryan just shared a tweet. He's hit 750,000. It just has not updated on the campaign site yet. The campaign site says 736. But Ryan just tweeted that he has officially hit 750K. That's $750,000 in under 10 hours, folks.
Good Lord. That's incredible. What do you guys want to say which covers you guys got? Like, because I had to get cover C because the site would just not work for me. So I got cover C and the poster of that really cool girl. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
I wanted her.
Yeah, I know. She is so cool.
Yaria?
Yeah.
So see, because I was on the notification email list, and I was at like 8, like literally, I was on my phone, and at 8:30 a.m. Central Time this morning, I was like hitting the refresh button until the site went live for me.
Yes.
And so I got the A and B signed cover pack.
Nice.
And for the comic book itself, I got the Ripaverse t-shirt and I got the both posters.
That's
awesome. The poster pack. And I was like, yes! And then like 20 minutes later, I saw that the Yaria poster was sold out and the t-shirt. So I got a small because it's male. It was all male size. So I was like, okay, I need a small male. Male mediums, male larges, and male extra larges are like, it literally said that they had maxed out and they're already on back order. And that was at like 9:15 this morning.
That's incredible. So what did you get, Megan?
I got A and B, but they're not signed. But I was like, maybe I'll just take them to a meetup one day and get him to sign them.
So there you go. Yes, Max, it is going to be Christmas in August. I agree. Yeah, so I wanted cover B, and I thought my order had gone through, and then when I checked, I was so sad it hadn't. Something had gone sideways. So I checked back, and of course, everything was sold out, and I was like, I have to have that girl. I don't care if she's a bad guy or not. I think she's cool. So I got the one with the poster. So yeah, I'm just so thrilled for him. I think Johnny says best. He needs to change it to "We are winning" because we are. Like this should show you, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, if you're into video editing, if you're into any of those things, you need to start creating and be brave.
Yeah, and do a lot of build up to your release, like a crap ton. Holy cow. Like, sorry, I'm just looking at all of this. By the way, props to the 10 people who spent the $5,000 to be canonized in the Ripaverse. Like one of my first tweets this morning was like, who wants to give me $5,000 a loan that they'll never get repaid back? So I could go be in the Rippaverse. And sadly, no one took me up on that offer, and I do not have $5,000 to immortalize myself in the Rippaverse at all.
Yeah, no, I know not. I do not either, but yeah, that is incredible for them. Yeah, over 600,000 copies sold last time. Yeah, it's just incredible. It's really incredible to see that that he just like bravely soldiered ahead. Like, let that be a lesson to the rest of us. If you've got a dream on your heart, like even if it takes years to achieve, let this be a lesson that it is possible. And
he
that people
invested,
are going to show up and
like this is so the thing that he did, he set it up similar to Indiegogo, so that people would be familiar with the format. So it was very user friendly. It's more user friendly on the PC than it is the phone, because to get onto the phone, you had to, at least early this morning, you had to do it through updates, not through the campaign story, because it wouldn't give you that side panel of everything. But once you figure that out, like, you were set. And anybody that's used Indiegogo before knew that you would have to do that. And yeah, so the fact that he has been prepping this, he's been hyping this, he invested so much money into this site and into the creator. He went out and he got professionals. He went out, like anything he couldn't do himself. Like he said, you know, he wanted to be involved in the writing, but as far as the art and the colorization, he was not where he wanted to be for his customers. So he went and found people who are professionals that he like, that were willing to work with him. And the thing is, if you guys watched his videos, like the first campaign video for ISOM, he shows who the creators are, and they're vets in the industry.
Yeah, they're like DC and Marvel people, aren't they?
Yeah. So like for them to come over and do this, because I mean, guys, all the hate, it's so funny. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm just gonna really quick drop this in here. I was flagged twice today as a bot for retweeting and tweeting about Rippaverse and Eric July's stuff. And obviously they were unfounded. I got both overturned. I'm back on Twitter. But if you look at some of the stuff that I've linked and you look at some of the stuff that I've quote tweeted, the amount of hate, they moved the goalposts. They went from you're not going to see 100K in a year to you're not going to see 100K in a month to, well, you're not going to crack 1 million. And now it's, this is a, you know, a one and done thing. Nobody's going to remember you after this first fulfillment.
Yeah.
And these are the people who are in denial because they think that you need a giant industry behind you in order to make anything happen. Rippa has proven that is not true.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also, you know what? Yeah, shout out to Lady Rippa. She's been on top of things today and helping. So she's been an amazing lady today. Like, Rippa better rub her feet tonight. I'm just saying. Or her back. One or the other. This breaks every narrative that people are against us. This also gets comics into people's hands that haven't read or held a comic in years. Yeah, I'm not a comic person at all. So yeah, like the fact that I have now bought a comic and I'm going to read it, that just speaks again to the perception of you know, how many people are willing to back and support this. So, all right, here she is. There's our girl. Are you frozen?
What?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, how are you today, my darling?
You look beautiful.
Yeah, you
Sound what?
You look beautiful.
But you sound far away.
Well, I'm probably because I haven't gotten anything set up. I'm stressed out. I'm never, ever doing a 4:00 stream again. Somebody remind me.
Go off camera.
5 o'clock at the minimum. Good God, that was stressful. I'm fine.
Hey, you're fine. You look beautiful. You carry the stress well.
Thanks.
Aww.
Do you need to go off camera for a second, love? Seriously, you're fine.
I mean, I'm off camera permanently, so you'll be fine.
Look here,
Max
lady.
for a minute.
I've got photos of you that I could sell on OnlyFans. I'm just
Listen here. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, I'm
but fun story. So I got a buddy of mine. Quit his job. He made. So it started as a joke, right? So it started as a bet and a joke. Where's her inhaler? I will breathe life into Tugs. It'll be fine.
Bite me, Johnny.
That was so funny.
Anyway, I got a buddy. As a joke, he lost the bet, so as a joke, he had to do an OnlyFans, and all he did was share his feet. But he made money, and so he was like, "Huh." So he shared a couple more feet pics, and he made more money, and so he went and he was like, "Okay, well, this has some traction." He quit his job because in 1 month he made 60 grand.
Good Lord.
Sharing just his feet. He just he went and got pedicures, manicures, pedicures. That's the feet one. He went and got pedicures, and he just angles that he'll just put them in he'll have different backgrounds. So it'll be his feet hanging over a diving board on a pool, or it'll be his feet above his head, above his head, and the sky will be behind his feet or something like that. Made 60 grand in a month. Most of his audience, he is straight. But most of his audience is gay, and he's fine with it because they never see his face, and he makes.
I thought about it. I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about it. I really have.
Wow,
that's gross.
I have.
All right,
you gotta be careful though. And we, for those of you who watched Simcast, when I was on it, a month or whatever ago, one of the girls on there was talking about it, and she was like, I did it, that's how I got my start, or was something. She was talking about how she used to do it or something, and she was like, you have to have boundaries though, because some of these people, she goes, the requests that I got with the type of photos that they want, she was like, I wouldn't be comfortable even sharing with the FBI. Some of them was awful, they were bad. So you have to have boundaries. You have to be like, no, I'm only going to pose this way. And the other girl, I think it was Zena, one of the other girls was like, yeah, I do that same thing. When you pose in lingerie, or if you're posing nude or anything, you have to have boundaries. This is how I'm going to do it. If you don't like it, you can go find somebody else that's going to bend to your will, because I'm not doing it because the requests get crazy.
No, that's what he
or
did.
You could just go wait tables.
No, can't make that kind of money.
Not that kind of
all right, hold on. This is not why we're here.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Rails.
I'm just saying, if you all put your mind to it and just stick to your principles, you can make money and live your dream.
Gimel Vision too classy for that crap.
Feet pics are nothing.
I didn't do it. It was a friend.
I appreciate that very much. Come on. Mary and Emma, be the goal. Anyways,
those are some pretty phenomenal women as well, but we appreciate the compliment.
Yes.
Which, by the way, is something that we have to talk about today, because part of being feminine is accepting compliments graciously, isn't it?
And not putting other women down.
There you go,
Max.
Which I didn't do.
No, not you. I'm picking on
Well, Max didn't technically. I mean, you're allowed to he didn't come out and say Simcast or hoes or anything like that. He just said that we were better.
Yes, Holocron. I live in Vegas. I'm telling you, the only way you're going to make that much money waiting tables is if you are a cocktail waitress in the VIP lounge at the very high end casinos, on that VIP lounge that you can only get into if you're an exclusive celebrity or high roller and stuff. That's the only way. And you don't even make that much. $60,000 a month is impossible waiting tables. I don't care who you work for. I don't care what people say. No, even the most expensive high-end people don't make that much a month. The only girls that made for the mafia close to that, or anywhere, not 60K, but they probably make about 20, would be our pool waitresses, the girls that work at the day club pools. They only work during the summer, and then they literally take the months of October through May off, and they go travel the world because they make so much money in tips. Other than that, and it's not even that much. So no, your feet pictures are worth more. Sorry, I hate to break it to everybody, but that's the world we're in right now.
I'm glad to hear that, JT. That's really good to hear. So I'm happy for you that stress is off your guys' shoulders. So anyways, okay, let's get on to the whole reason why we're here.
Wait, I tried to give you a beautiful segue. Y'all refused it. But isn't Johnny on a plane?
I don't know.
How is he in the chat?
Johnny!
No, he's not in the chat. I lied.
Okay, so the whole reason why we're here tonight is to talk about embracing femininity, because I did my very first video on my channel, and I covered an article talking about how women have to have some ownership in the way that society is going for so far as like relationships and dating and finding good men and finding good women. And so I wanted to expand upon that and basically take that idea that I started with in that video and kind of run with it tonight. So we have a couple articles that we're going to go over. And this first one that I wanted to start with was this one that myself and Lady Gravemaster were talking about backstage, and we have thoughts about. And I would be curious to know what Tugs and Megan, Tugs, you're drinking. So Megan, what did you think about this article? Because like the first half of it, me and Lady Gravemaster have a very particular thought on the content of the article.
I should probably read this article.
Did I miss this one? I remember the king and queen one. What?
Okay, no. So we'll ease you into this one. Their definition of a passive aggressive woman is not actually a passive aggressive woman. And it says there's nothing pretty about being passive. So we disagree with this particular section because it gives the title of a passive aggressive woman, but then it gives a definition of someone else. So like where it says that you put too much on your plate and then complain about it later, accept new friends' dinner invite when you'd rather turn in for the evening, and then go home and stay up all night thinking about the guy who's missed those 2 dates. And then it says classic cases of passive aggressive behavior. That's not passive aggressive at all. That is a type of being passive, but that is a lack of confidence. That is not passive aggressive. Passive aggressive, and I just... Ladies, raise your hands if you've ever heard these or some version of these, please. Is, yeah, I bought that dress like a year ago, and it's just stayed in the closet where it belongs. Because it's a chick trying on a dress that she has and doesn't want the other woman to wear.
Or that she wants that dress. Like, I feel like the first half of this and what they were trying to get at is that femininity is having what is the word I'm looking for? Like self-accountability, like that like you don't have a backbone. And I feel like a lot of people, I do agree with them at that, like women need to, there's a difference between being, like a feminist and being a strong woman, being like, you know what, I'm really sorry, I can't tonight, I'm exhausted or whatever. I feel like what they're trying to get at is that femininity today, a strong woman looks different than a feminist, and that's what they missed the mark on in this first article.
Yeah, like passive aggressive comments are like, it's fine, go ahead, or something along the lines of, I'm gonna say some stuff like be like, you'd look so good in that dress if you were more tan or if you were more lean, or
like a compliment hidden, like not
backhanded compliments.
Yeah,
backhanded compliments. Passive aggressive. Yeah. Or when someone is genuinely like, or when someone's like fishing for a compliment, like when they go, I didn't think that this dress would look good, so I spent forever looking in the mirror, and I just don't know how I look in it because I don't think it's doing what I want it to do. And then you're actively seeking that compliment rather than just simply and politely, when someone says, oh, I love that dress, be like, oh, thank you so much. Like I was really excited about wearing it and it makes me feel so good. Like that's two different reactions to the same situation, and you sound really gracious in one and you sound like a compliment fisher with the other. But like I think
like ultimately what they were trying to do with this, and I agree with the title, is that femininity is more about than putting on a pretty dress. And this first part is just an odd, clunky, I don't know what they were trying to really get at. But this second part, when they were saying that, having manners and being like a giving woman are much closer to what they were trying to, like what we understand today as being feminine. Because I loved the part where they went into like, we go to our grandmothers when we need something, like a shirt rips that we love and there's a hole in it and we need it stitched up, or your grandmother always had a bowl of candy or cookies on the table when you came over. It's this idea of generosity and hospitality that I feel like a lot of women have completely lost in today's society.
Yeah, it's hostility, not hospitality. Like, this whole idea of you should be insulted by a man opening a door for you rather than saying thank you and graciously accepting it and maybe offering to turn around and hold the door open for him. Or, you know, when it always makes me laugh when people are like, well, why do you cook? Like, why are you the one that does the cooking, or why are you the one that does the grocery shopping or the laundry? And it's like, it's later in this article too, where you have the same women who are telling me this are like, he's got to be 6 foot tall minimum, 6 figures, 6-pack, and, you know, treats me like a queen. Okay, but what are you, like, can you name 6 things that you're bringing to the relationship that can match that, or that are worthy of such a high list? Like, can you speak 6 languages? Can you cook 6 different types of cuisines adequately? Can you balance a checkbook? Do you know what that means? Do you know how to, you know, I know not a lot of people balance their checkbooks anymore, but it is still a thing, you know, or basically just do a budget of some type, like a household budget. And do you adhere to it? Are you capable of listening to listen rather than just listening to talk back? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Tugs, you look like you have a deep thought.
Actually, their use of passive aggressive behavior is correct. And this is why. What they're talking about is when, and I do this, but what they're talking about is when you take on extra responsibilities at work because people are drumming up losing the slack, right? To pick up the slack, when A, you don't need to, B, you shouldn't have to, C, it's not your qualification, etc. So you do it, but it's begrudgingly. And so that's where the passive aggressive behavior is. Your boss says, hey, can you pick this up? And you go, okay, yeah, sure. But the whole time you're making snide comments, or the whole time you're slamming papers down, or your whole demeanor changes when you begrudgingly, this is what they mean, when you take on responsibilities and stuff that you don't want, your whole demeanor changes, you have an attitude, and you get snippy. That is the passive aggressive behavior. And also when you go to dinner, when you go out with people, when you do something you don't want to do, what's your attitude all night? Think about it. What's your attitude all night? You're sulky, don't want to be here. People can feel that vibe off of you. Oh, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. Like, I didn't really want to come, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they mean by it is passive aggressive. They're using it correctly. The guy with the 2 dates and text forever back thing, I don't know what that's a weird example, but the other stuff, yeah, absolutely. Instead of communicating what their point is that people think being passive means just accepting things that get thrown at you without saying anything, and being a mouse and being quiet about it and being like, yeah, I'll just accept these things that go on. Whereas,
you know what? Maybe meekness would have been a better term then, because what you're describing to me is meek.
No, because the aggressive, I mean, it could work too, but the passive aggressive part of that is the way you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's ever been in an office job, and this goes for men too, and this just happened to me a few months ago. We had a lady at work who is something else, and she wasn't getting a certain report done in the timely manner. It wasn't working right, and this, that, and the other. So it was bestowed upon me, much to my chagrin, even though I know how to do it. I know I'm going to blow it out of the park. I know I'm going to get 16 gold stars because this woman over here is a dum-dum and she doesn't know what she's doing. And I just do. And so I was given this thing because she's incompetent, and it irritated me so bad that instead of just gracefully accepting and being like, you know what, you trust me with this? Absolutely. I'm going to show you and be a rock star. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. But I was bitchy about it. I was so mean and made like nasty comments because I had to take up the slack for somebody who is twice my age and incompetent enough that she couldn't even do it, that it was a mess. And so that's what they're meaning by that passive.
Wouldn't that just be aggressive though?
No, because it's not in their face. It's like quiet, under your breath. Oh my God, these people are so ridiculous. Or yeah, I'm doing that, but I don't really want, it's not my job. You know what I mean? Like, it's that passive aggressive. Well, if you had done it, I wouldn't have to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of a thing. That's what they mean by it. It's not, that's what they're meaning by it. So I think it's worded weirdly, but that was the first thing I thought of when I read this, because yes, no, absolutely. Or don't want to go hang out with these people and you do anyway. Like, I hate rap concerts. I don't like rap music. It's not my thing. So me accepting a thing to a rap concert because, oh, it's my friends, and yeah, I don't really want to go, would be me standing there like this the whole time, just miserable. And that maybe I put on a fake face, I'm like, oh, it's so nice to see you. But I'm like, oh my God, these people, like, oh, this music is giving me such a headache, or whatever. Like these little snide comments that you make. Well, you accept the plans instead of just being honest and saying, I don't like rap music. I'm gonna miss out on this one, but you guys have fun. Like maybe afterwards we can get drinks.
That I agree with. See, that part, the way you're talking about it, I definitely agree with. I think the way, because they didn't talk about that. Like the only time they brought up your reaction was when you're going to complain about it later. This just makes it seem like if you accept extra workload, or if you accept something, like if you accept an invitation to go out on that night, it's a passive aggressive behavior. But like I've done, like, I think I agree with you. We've all done stuff that we don't want to do and we have an attitude with it. But I think we've all also done things we don't want to do and been graceful about it. You know what I mean? Like, so I think if they had the reaction part following those statements, it would have made more sense. And like what you're describing, I totally agree with. When you're like standing there and basically throwing a temper tantrum quietly, I agree with that. I think it's just the way that they presented it in the article didn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, it's definitely worded weirdly. I mean, they do say begrudgingly put responsibilities, which is, you know, our reaction to it, and while complaining about it later. Like it's just it's worded. She's wording it from the mindset that like all women are going to know what I'm talking about when they say this, and that obviously didn't end up being the case. I was like, oh yeah, I get it, but not so that's where it's just the way she's worded it. But begrudgingly isn't there. Somebody said that in the chat. Vardarniana.
Yeah.
There it is.
I think probably because the women in my life, they're a bit heavier on the aggressive with their passive. Like it's very much. Did you like? Oh, sweetie. You know, at least you made it out the door with the same pair of with the matching pair of shoes today, or something like that. You know, like that crap really just irritates the ever-loving piss out of me. Because if you react to it, then like they know they're getting a rise out of you, and if you don't react to it, they're just going to keep doing it until they do get a rise out of you. Yeah. So,
Megan, what do you make? What do you make of that? I'm interested now because like now that Tugs has like put it in a different framework, but I think ultimately what this gets down to and what they're trying to point out in this article is that femininity is about like. Why can I not think of the word? It's like self-accountability, that like you have to hold yourself accountable to the woman that you want to be perceived as, not the woman who like Tug says that begrudgingly takes on extra responsibilities. I think that like ultimately what they're getting down to is femininity is founded on self-accountability.
Yeah. And and being open and honest. They say that a little bit later in there. I was just scrolling through the article and they talk about that. Like you communicate as a feminine, as a woman who's confident in herself and confident in what she wants and doesn't want and what she likes and doesn't like. Like you feel okay to say, no, you know what? I've got enough responsibility on my plate. Maybe somebody else can do it for you. Or, you know, no, that's not really my thing. I don't really want to go to dinner, you know, that kind of a thing. And she can communicate and tell people like, this is no, thank you, that kind of a thing. And that's a trick that's learned, because I think so many of us, at least in my family, were raised by women that are just not like that. Like they're independent and strong in other ways, but that boundaries, boundaries. Yeah, it's basically boundaries, setting boundaries.
Yeah. It seemed more it seemed more like boundaries to me. I think I missed this one, so I'm just
that's fine, dear.
reading it out.
Yeah, that's what I was
it
doing.
Does seem a lot more like boundaries and knowing your own personal boundaries and where those are, and learning that, because I mean,
well,
I'm only just learning my own boundaries still now, so like,
yeah, same here.
Well, it's harder for introverts too to set boundaries.
Yeah. When people pleasers, if you're a people pleaser and you've had a narcissist, especially if you're raised or been around a narcissist for a good amount of your life, like you don't have, they do not exist. You have no boundaries and you're a people pleaser because you never know what's going to set anybody off. And so you just do things like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do this entire group project by myself and take zero credit for it. Yay!
Oh, hell no. If I did That was one of my biggest pet peeves in college. If I can have 4 children and be at this stupid meeting and work on my portion and all of your portions, and y'all, this one chick, she's like, sorry, work was crazy. She was a part-time waitress at one of the local restaurants here, and she like didn't show up for several shifts. And she was like, I've just been so tired and worn out from school. And I'm like, listen, bitch, you're 19.
You don't know what tired is.
If I can be here at 9:30 on a Thursday night, so can your ass.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to hold on. Johnny dropped something in the chat, and I do actually want to highlight this. The Bible paints a beautiful picture of a passive / submissive woman. Being submissive to a man only sounds bad because a lot of POS men abuse it. But when they actually love their bride as Christ loved the church, then there's no reason to fear that. That kind of man is going to serve you, fight for you, cherish you, and sacrifice for you. There is a healthy bit of passiveness that a woman can have while still being a woman of conviction overall. I think that's really well said. Because I think that that's right. And I think, because I don't think there's anything wrong with being passive in some circumstances, but women are still like to still be assertive in certain situations. I think is important, just like you just said, so that we do have healthy boundaries and that we don't become like the bitter woman that I think this passive aggressive woman that they were painting in the article can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's the like, I think Johnny hit it on the head, you know, and the thing is, you, like my grandparents and my parents have always said this too, you can disagree with each other, just not in public. Like you know, don't air your dirty laundry, whatever you want to call it. You know, unless someone does something super like, you know, I'm not going to, if my husband were to ever like slap a woman in front of me just because, he never would, but like, you know, if he hits somebody just because he was in a crap mood, no, I would obviously say something and I'd probably walk out, because that breaks a barrier of decorum. But if they like, if he were to say something along the lines of, oh yeah, we can definitely like look at our schedule and make that weekend work for us or whatever, and see what we can do, or something like if he agrees to plans without you, or if he does something that like you're there and you're supposed to be involved with it, but he makes a decision without at least looking at you, or he says something maybe that's a little off color, like a joke that is kind of like personal to you, you can always discuss that later, or in public somewhere, or in public, not in or in private, not in public. There we go. I'm tripping over my words. In private, not in public, so that you still have that, you maintain that what is that? Front. Unified front. There we go.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, people, I've seen men do it, but it's mostly women. Like when they smell blood in the water, especially if they're unhappy in their own life, they'll very much be like, oh, I would never let him talk to me like that. You should absolutely leave him. Like you have one disagreement and they're like pouncing on you.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I thought that was kind of like, there was an interesting article to think about for sure, because femininity is more so about than, you know, putting on makeup or a dress or anything. Like, you know, there's the ongoing sundress debate within our little corner of the internet. And, you know, I like dresses to a point, but I'm not going to be in them all the time because I just don't find them very comfortable. But I think that that's an interesting place to start, and to think about that femininity is more about your face, and it's more about your looks, and it's about your conduct yourself and the things you do in public. And on that note, I want to bring up this article that I actually did my first video on this topic on, and I would like to know, like, ultimately what you guys, because I took a pretty like harsh stance on this, but it was, I mean, I wasn't like going to hold back like how I felt about the issue. So, I mean, Gina Florono, whatever, however you say her name, she's pretty unapologetic on how she approached it.
You know what's a bucket.
Yeah, Gina something or other. And the thing is, that's her maiden name. On her Twitter, it's her married name. So I don't understand why she's got her maiden name on there. But I mean, what did you guys think of, like, if you saw my video, like, I mean, I just would like to know your guys' thoughts on this, because I think that there is, again, getting back to personal accountability, that we can't always be blaming men for behavior. I think that a lot of women are to blame for some of the conduct that we all take issue with and keep seeing over and over again. So what are y'all's thoughts on this?
Well, it kind of goes back to like Lady Gravemaster saying like all these women who have this like list, like I want a man who has a six pack, blah 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 blah, blah. And then but what are they offering? Mm-hmm. What are you bringing? And often, I mean, this is just like me making a judgment, but like a lot of these women, they aren't offering a lot, honestly. No offense.
No, they're offering too much.
Or like too much. Like your too much that you're offering is everybody's seen it all now. I don't know. It's not enough, and it's also too much at the same time.
Yeah.
There's no mystery. There's nothing to pursue. There's nothing to search for. There's nothing to be discovered.
Well, and it creates this vicious cycle of shallowness, I feel like.
Mm.
You know, that there's just this ongoing jumping from one woman to the next for instant gratification. And I think that's also what it gets into, is that we don't believe in delayed gratification anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's everything. I mean, technology has done that for us.
Yeah.
Forget people. Technology has done that.
Yeah, that's true.
The internet has completely, and that's with anything. Oh, I need amount of wine. Let me get more wine. Oh, delivered. Oh, well, I need a new toothbrush. Oh, delivered. I don't even got to leave my house.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, actually, in that same vein, see, Leish, everything happens for a reason. Because to go back, my friend who quit his job because all he did was take pictures of his feet, right? But there's that, like, can you imagine if 10,000 strangers gave him $600 to come and look at his feet in person? That would be unsafe, for one. Yeah. And two, it would be it'd be terrifying. Like, it'd be truly terrifying, because you don't know like what's on these people's minds. But the internet has given us sort of that barrier between like having that physical interaction with people. And so it makes people a little bit more bold, and it makes people a little bit, I mean, we talk about it all the time, keyboard warriors. But now you have this whole institution sort of built around the internet and that idea of instant gratification, and people think that because there is that distance, or because they're like, well, none of my personal information's out there, so they can't get to me, so I can share a picture of me topless, or I can share, a picture of me in a G-string, and it's not actually anything really bad, because it's not like they're actually touching me, or they're actually there in the room with me. And so it gives this false sense of a barrier, of a boundary. It gives a false sense of a boundary. So,
oh, she's gone.
Oh,
I mean, you look at these kid YouTubers whose whole lives are out there for everybody to see, like their birthdays, their doctor's appointments, they're called lifestyle videos, they're called family videos, and like that's made a lot of money. That's a huge chunk of, like, that takes up a piece of the pie on YouTube. It's a very big, because it's supposed to be child friendly, because it's these kids doing kid things, and it's supposed to inspire your kids to go do those things, which doesn't happen. They just end up watching more of these videos. And so you have like this weird false boundary, because you don't actually see the people. You're not personally interacting with them. And so you have this false sense of a boundary. And so you feel like you can just sort of say whatever you want, and you really can't.
Well, and then you have issues like, for example, people that date online, and there's nothing wrong with dating online. That's how I met my husband. But I can see how it's so very, very easy to pretend to be somebody you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Because the majority of, especially like your very first communication, is online. And especially because he was American and I'm up in Canada, like the majority of our communication was like Facebook messaging, actually, and texting and emails. And, you know, it's so easy for people to pretend to be someone that they're not. And then you meet in real life and you're going to have some serious problems relationship wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go well.
Right. Tugs, you look like you have a thought. Do you have a thought?
I don't know that I don't know. I can't judge too much. I really can't. And like watching your video, I was kind of like, because you were very harsh on it, but I can't be that harsh because I was this girl. I have been this girl very recently, up till very recently, actually, you know this. I was this girl, not quite this bad, but that I've used because that's one, how we're taught, and two, it works. I'm sorry, but it works. I could post 2 photos, same exact photo, and the one that will get attention is the one where this comes just a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. It doesn't have to be like a full on off. It could just be a V-neck instead of this scoop, and it could come here, sit right under my cross. That's the one that, because it works, and there's nothing wrong with that, because men want what's under the wrapping. And they've always wanted what's under the wrapping. They have for a millennia, and they will never not want what's under the wrapping.
I've been convinced that is just
about it.
Conditioning.
But they do. They want what's under the wrapping.
Yeah.
That's the end goal. Now there's all this other stuff in there, and let's not placate it. If you walked into a room and started talking about politics with your husband, boyfriend, fiance, girlfriend, whoever, and you were naked, they're not hearing what you're saying. Nobody is. I didn't hear my men. I never heard my boyfriend when he did that to me. I was like, yeah, whatever. We like it. Okay, it's a thing. It's okay. But I can see it now because I'm out of it and I'm changing my ways and changing my behavior. But I was that girl. So I can't be as harsh because I understand it. I was there. I've been there. The flirtiness, that all that stuff, which I do love to flirt. It's so fun. But I've been there. So I can't judge these women that harshly. But I do see it now that I'm more making myself, and I have to fight all the time to make myself more reserved, to make myself more, we don't need to be talking about this. It's okay. We don't have to. We could talk about it with our girls, but the entire internet doesn't need to know these, things. Right. And all of that or whatever. And so I can see it coming up from the outside, and I've never liked Miley Cyrus, and that were the examples they bring up specifically in this interview. We all remember Miley Cyrus and Robin Thicke, that performance, Cardi B's rap music video, that kind of stuff, even with my own promiscuity, that was, can we just maybe calm down? Calm down, okay? But I personally, on my own level, I cannot, because I've been there, and I can see it, the change. I know that if you are in that situation right now and you're looking at, especially because I feel like there's this little bit of a movement going on where a lot more women are waking up, and it's like, what am I doing? Usually us in our 30s, hey, we're kind of waking up to the world around us going, what were we doing? What were we thinking? And how many of us, raise your hands, you don't have to in the chat, or you could put, if you're a woman that was that way and maybe changed your ways or are still that way, single mom. Dad wasn't around a whole lot. That is a huge key factor. Not always, but a huge key factor in a lot of these girls acting like that, because we never had a man around to show us what men could be, should be, can be, are, whatever. And so we went off of our moms who were like, men suck. We hate them. Do what you want, girl. Blah, 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 blah. You've got it. Flaunt it. Use what your mama gave you. Use what the Lord blessed you with. Blah, 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 blah. Right? That kind of thing. And I was like, oh, yeah. I got all this power, because we do. Women hold all the power. We do. We really do. We hold all the power. Men control the relationship. Women control the sex. And that is it. The period. End all, be all. That's it. And you're never going to get one or the other if you can't rein your control in. And that's where it is. But so I can't, I bless all of these women. I get what the author is saying. I get what you were saying, but I can't. I can't judge them completely, because I've been there, and I can say you can change. It's a struggle though, because I tell you what, I'm cute. Okay.
Well, the thing is, I don't see I don't see necessarily an issue how you have like, so using the two of us as a case study, right? How you behave on your live streams versus how I behave on mine. Because like I say at the end, modesty and femininity are going to look different on every woman. Every woman's going to have a boundary that she won't cross and that she's fine with pushing. You know, every woman's going to have a different set of rules for herself. And I think later on down the line, if you're with someone, that is also going to be your husband or your serious partner is going to be involved in that, you know, how you set those boundaries and how you set those lines, because it just comes down to self-respect. But I think like, you know, and I know that I was harsh and I understand that. And I, you know,
no, it was good. It was fine. I'm not mad at you, or I'm not saying it's bad. No. I'm just like, I can't be this way because
I'm gonna throw. You might get mad at me, Tugs, but it's okay. I'll still love you. Hopefully, you'll still love me. I think you can actually be more critical of the women, because you've admitted that was something that you did, and now that you've kind of come out the other side of it, and you said that you're working on your self-control with that situation. I think that just because you used to be that way, it doesn't make you a hypocrite to look at those women and say, okay. And it's not that you're judging the women, it's that you're judging that lifestyle from a perspective of someone who's been there. So it's not so much that you're a hypocrite, it's more of like subject matter expert. And so you can give a more unique perspective on it than someone who didn't necessarily embrace that type of attitude in life.
That's a problem too, Rosie. That's a huge problem. Because I guarantee you, Rosie, if I were to take your profile photo right now, which is super cute, if I were to take that photo and I were to be, if I had your account and I were to post that photo, depending on how you phrase it, depending on how, like, what your caption is, if you say something about the red thing in your hat, like, oh, when a girl wears red, she's just sassier or something, right? But what I can't think of the red lipstick quote that's famous. I think Coco Chanel said it. I can't. Give a girl red lipstick and she could conquer the world, something like that. If you put that on there, like, immediately, people, there will be, and here's where I agree with you, Lady G. Also, however, though, I come from a perspective that coming at somebody that way, at least for me personally, as somebody who has faltered in several different things, when you, for me, I cannot comment at other women like that because that only makes them put up a wall higher.
Oh no, I know. That's why I said don't
listen. Yeah. Just kind of like when you're trying to convert somebody to Christianity, you're talking about Jesus and you're like, oh my God, Jesus would never, or, you know, we all know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of people, immediately what happens? Whoosh, I'm not going to be around those people. Screw that. This the article, the Satanist guy. I don't know if you guys saw the article I retweeted. This Satanist, this leader of this church in Africa, converted to Christianity because 4 people treated him with kindness. He was hugged by one, didn't even know she was Christian until later, and was like, oh my God. Now she knew all about him. She just gave him a hug. Was like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. Finally, we've been corresponding, whatever, for this radio show. And he had never experienced that because he's most likely experienced the ones that are like all up in your face and aggressive. And what does that do? That makes you go, absolutely not. No, you don't need to.
Yeah. No, see, like that's why I said I don't mean go at the women like that. I just meant like discuss that lifestyle with more criticism and from someone with subject matter expert. I don't think like usually, like you said, personally attacking people never works. I mean, unless you're trying to kill the person, personally attacking someone does not work. Just throwing that out there. That's the only time personally
I love to have that kind of qualifier. Unless you're trying to kill someone.
I mean, it's true though.
I see your comment, Johnny. So I cut myself off and spiraled. What I was going for with that was Rosie's photo is very cute. It's not super over the top. It's very cute. It's a modest photo. It's a beautiful photo. But depending on A, who follows her, B, their mentality, and C, the caption she puts can change the way people look at it. She's fully clothed. She's got a whole full-blown clothes on. Like she's got a little hat and whatever. And somebody will be like, oh my God, you're wearing a V-neck shirt on the internet. You're asking for it. You put makeup on because you're asking for it. But it doesn't matter what you wear. It really doesn't. Depending on how you frame it and post it. I've seen it. It does not matter. If you go to Real Brittany Dawn, her stuff, She'll
I
post
know.
clothing stuff, and the people still come for her, and you're like,
I know.
she's got clothes on. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Well, I
It
mean,
doesn't matter.
There is a reason. My Instagram is not letting me log in, so I can't pull anything up. I'm super annoyed. But there is a reason that on my post, when I was talking about embracing beauty and femininity, I had to have that qualify in there. Please keep your comments respectful. Like, there is a reason I felt the need to do that. But again, I don't necessarily, like I said in my video, I don't necessarily it's because some women, and there are some specific examples I'm thinking of that I know dance around the edges of this corner of the internet. I'm not going to name them, but there are certain women out there who use their assets to gain a presence on social media, and they're willing to do anything for a super chat or whatever, what have you. It's a learned behavior, and I feel like that ultimately they're causing a bigger issue than the men who are reacting to it, because they have no social accountability, they have no sense of self-worth. It's them who is ultimately not holding themselves to a high standard, because here I am. I mean, so I'm on the internet. I'm not gonna, I'm a very reserved woman, always have been, probably always will be. I've got 30 people in here, so clearly people are liking what I'm saying, and they to a certain extent agree with what I'm saying. So that's the thing. I think that so many women now think that femininity is just flaunting everything, whereas women who have more, I guess, standards or boundaries or whatever one you want to call it, sense of self-worth, I think that we forget that society does, and I'm having to learn this, that society does want to hear those voices and see that type of femininity.
Yeah. I think we're definitely going back to it, which I say back like I was there. I wasn't. but there just is, there's a line. There is a line. And like Marilyn Monroe is one of my favorite examples, because the woman posed nude, she flirted with a bunch of men, and she, did all these crazy things on the crazy side. However, you saw her at any public event, and she was one of the classiest dressed woman in the room. Do you know what I mean? So she walked that line. Sometimes she crossed it, but for the most part, she walked that line. And men, even still today, are like, oh, Marilyn Monroe, we love Marilyn Monroe. And it's not because of her promiscuity. It's because the way she carried herself. It was the way she presented herself. She was, oh, hi, my name's Marilyn, and I just love a good man who blah, 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 or whatever it was, right? And unfortunately, she ended in tragedy, but for her whole career, it was this line that she walked. It was kind of like Johnny Cash's song, you walk that line. And so many women have just fallen completely over it. They look up to the women back then, Hepburn, Monroe, Jane Russell, all of those women, and they're looking at the wrong things. They all they see when they see Marilyn, the women, modern women now, is, oh, well, she fooled around with JFK. Well, yeah, that got her killed. That was a terrible idea. Don't do that. But they're not looking at the way they presented themselves. They went to the gym. They ate real food. They, owned the room. They let the men open the doors for them. They let I mean, come on. Not
only did they let the men do that, but they expected it. They had expectations of men back then.
And they held those men to a standard.
Exactly. And nowadays it's like, oh, well, you can't hold your man to an expectation, because if you do that, he's going to be miserable. He's going to call you a nag. He's going to do this, that, and the other. If you expect too much from men, they're going to run away. Then those are not the men that you want to be around. Like, you need to hold them. It's the same, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to help you improve yourself, and that you can hopefully help improve as well. Whether it's for a lifetime, a season, whatever it may be, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to have a net positive impact on you and your life, and you'll hopefully have a net positive impact on theirs. Because when you're like, oh, because when you let stuff like that slide, if you let the little things go, that's why the big things get out of hand. And it's like, oh, he didn't hold the door open for me, but that's okay. He probably didn't see me, when he clearly did. Or when, oh, he asked me out on the date, but he doesn't want to, he isn't going to pick up the check. He wants to go Dutch, or he wants me to pay. Okay, that's kind of a red, like, this is why women should not, that Evie had an article about that too. I disagree with women asking men out on dates.
Yeah,
Very
okay,
much
well,
so, because like even if you're like an alpha woman, generally speaking, you don't want to have a beta male. You want a stronger man. Like if you're a strong woman, you don't want a weak dude. You
Yeah.
want a strong man so that you can complement each other, because the difference being is that if you have a weak man who isn't going to like challenge you, stand up to you, make you a better person, like really sort of, not necessarily, like, he's not being critical of you. He's simply saying, hey, I think that if we did this together, we could both improve. Like, let's both go to church, or let's both go to the gym, or let's both, read this book, and then we can discuss it and see what perspective we have from it, and then we can grow and learn. That's the kind of man you should be looking for. You shouldn't be looking for a yes man, a beta man, someone who is going to simply just agree with you for the sake of agreeing with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Doug, you're loving this comment. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and
stream. Stop going in my DMs. What that mouth do, though? What that mouth do? That mouth eats steak that I cooked on the stove. What are you talking about? My mouth does the same thing yours does. Talks too much. Shush. Stop. That does not help, by the way.
I've got my DMs turned off. You can only DM me if I'm following you. So
yeah.
I honestly don't get that bad, thank God. Although now that I say this, I probably am. But I honestly don't get, every now and then one will slide through and you're just like, huh. Okay. But yeah, what that mouth do. And exactly worded that exact way. What that mouth do. I'll give you one guess as to what that guy probably looks like. What that mouth do is that one. There's what are you wearing? Obviously, there's you'll get the DMs of like, oh, that dress would look better on the floor.
Dude, that one makes me giggle.
I mean, no, it doesn't look better on the floor. I have cats.
Like when people be like, that dress would look better on the floor, and be like, you know what? If you agree to pay that dry cleaning bill, I'll throw it on the floor. You're not going to see anything, but I'll go throw it on the floor, and then I'll take a picture of it on the floor whilst I'm wearing my fuzzy pajamas, and then you can pay for the laundry bill. But like the thing too is you can go too far the other way. Like, and I'm Catholic. I'm not knocking nuns, okay? But like, you don't also have to go to the extreme of modesty where you dress like a nun, especially if you're not in a convent life. Like, we are experiencing the exact opposite. Like, it's so weird to have these two extremes happening simultaneously, because on the one end, you have women dragging their private parts all across the stage, but then on the other end, you have like this weird like Puritan movement where it's like women in video games shouldn't have boobs or breast armor, or like, and it's a video game, and you're like, no, you should be able to note that they are in fact a feminine figure, and feminine figures tend to have curves, and so like you can't go that far the other direction. So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's like if you can hit that like sexy librarian look where you're professional, kind of like what Tug is doing right now in her getup, or you've got Megan over there with her like flowing red. Green's your color, by the way, girl. So like, and then of course you've got Alasia, who's just got the brightest eyes in the world, so she'll just rock whatever. But like all of you ladies sort of present this different feminine energy that is endearing but also like sexy. So it's like finding that in between. I'm not saying you have to be a nun, but also Tugs, you put those glasses on and you just sort of like you didn't do anything that
I'm gonna sell these on the internet.
Super. Oh, there you go. You didn't do anything that was like super extensive in energy, but like just throwing the glasses on, it adds this whole other depth and whatever. And you've got, I'm going to call each of you out, but please know that it is out of love. So like with Tug and the glasses, Megan has her hand very delicately under her chin, which is like a huge She doesn't even notice that she's doing it, but it's such a
I'm like,
it's no girl, it looks so good. Like you look really like involved and in depth and interested, and because you have your hand in that position,
Oh, she's gone again. Hold
it
on, she'll
means
come
you're
back.
engaging, which was one of the
There it
things in that Evie article, which is where you're giving your own energy.
Yeah.
And then of course again you have Alasia, who has literally not stopped smiling for this entire stream, which we really do need more of, because she's got these bright eyes, she's got this gorgeous smile, and she can flip her hair like it's nobody's business. And it's super endearing, and it's fantastic to see all of that, because again, they're all different dynamics, but they all work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah.
Lady
Um,
Grey's Master.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm like, and moving on. Megan, darling, you've been quiet. Do you have a thought on any of all of this?
I did, and then I completely lost it.
Do you need me to go find it? I can go dig for
Compliment. I
it.
was like,
I know. We get a compliment, and our whole brains like
I'm
melt
like,
out of
oh,
our
I
ears.
can't handle this.
See, men, simple, easy compliments that are genuine will render a woman speechless. There you go.
It's true. Also,
Tip of the day.
Who was it that wrote that quote that if you want to fascinate a woman, give her a block of cheese?
yes.
Okay, that's Tux. She shared that, and it's like totally true.
It's so true.
Cheesy. I will literally, if you look, I am so adapting the more I follow certain slightly borderline crazy people. I want a farm and a cow, and if you bring me a farm and a cow and some cheese, that just may be it. I'm just saying.
Have you seen
I
that
want a cow.
post about this girl that was dating a farmer, and instead of like bringing flowers for the first date, he brought her cheese?
Literally this thing like this of cheese that they got from there because they had their own cows. They
Yeah.
made cheese.
Mhm.
I love cheese.
My brother did not understand why I loved this line from
Gouda.
She's the Man so much. Kay, do you like cheese? Why, yes, my favorite's Gouda. Women love cheese.
We love cheese. Why
And
do you-
carbs. And carbs.
That and breadsticks.
Carbs. Press sticks,
Aw,
chocolate.
Thanks, Johnny. I just saw your comment. Where'd it go? Aw, thanks, Johnny.
Where?
No, not that one. Before. Keep going.
I'm sorry, I'm like completely
Aw,
lost.
it's the one above it.
There you go.
I know. I don't speak for all men, but this kind of group of ladies appeals to me way more than Simcast. I need a balance. No nuns, no unattractive, angry SGWs in men's clothes, no thirst. Wow, thank you, Johnny.
I mean, look, wait, Johnny, though. Now it's thirst. Yeah.
This is what I have to do.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Gosh.
Today's society, or perhaps the social media, what's
Facsimile.
Facsimile, thank you. Not only puts down femininity, but masculinity. A man is chided for being supportive and chivalrous. Worse, so many women contribute to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say, because what in the article, I can't remember, but like basically how women, what's her face? Tommy Lauren or whatever her name
Yeah.
is.
Tommy Lauren,
How she was like complaining about men, there's no good men, and a lot of women say this, and I honestly used to believe that too. Okay, like I was a man hater, but like we have contributed to there being no good men through like women through their behavior, whether it is like being overly sexualizing themselves, so you're going to attract that type of man, or by just telling men, you know, like getting mad at like the feminism and getting mad at them for opening the door and everything like that. Like, like we have contributed to that, to the lack of good men. And I mean, when women have expectations, like Tugs was saying, women have the power, right? So we put our expectations here. We put them up here, and men are going to rise to that.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's, I mean, exactly. That's like when
She's flirting with me.
I'm so many people here. I'm not used to being here. Thank you all. Let me just say thank you all so much for all y'all's support. I'm blown away the fact we've got 36 people in here watching.
I know. I only had to threaten 30 of them.
I thank you.
Oh,
I thank you for
out the other 30. Wait,
Okay.
Wait, what?
Just kidding.
You're getting paid?
Yeah. In her love fiction.
What?
Oh, Jay's calling out the chat, but like in a good way. Well done,
Yes.
chat.
Yeah.
We love our chat.
Thank you. We love our chat.
That's the thing too. Like just like Megan was saying, if you're constantly actually a perfect example of this was Ripa. He had someone come out, and it wasn't exactly a hate comment. I mean, there's like salt in the responses, but it says it was like, look, good on Ripa for doing his thing, and Ryan should support it, but don't hype him up to be the next Marvel or DC and say it's bad news for them when nothing's been released yet. That's asking for too high of expectations. My quote tweet to that was, I feel bad for you. You have been conditioned to set your expectations low so you can have incremental hits of dopamine rather than a foundation to continue to set and exceed high standards and expectations. Eric July does not have such self-inflicted limitations, and neither does Ryan Kinnell. That's the thing. Most of the limitations that people experience are self-inflicted. And when people are willing to let stuff slide, like if you have a dress code at your company, Brian, if you have a dress code at your company, but you don't enforce it, I mean, your employers are going to dress however they want. They're going to they're not going to show up in uniform, or they're going to show up in inappropriate attire, whether it's supposed to be business casual and they show up in, sweats and a t-shirt or sweats and a tank top, or it's summertime. So now they're in booty shorts and a tank top and you're supposed to be business casual. Like that's not appropriate. Certain environments demand a certain element, like a certain physical element, and you expect to interact with people that present themselves a certain way, whether that's, I mean, my God, every fast food company makes their employees wear their t-shirts and like either khakis or blue jeans, right?
Yeah.
And then non-slip shoes. And if they don't wear non-slip shoes, they get sent home because that's a safety hazard.
Slip.
Yeah, they have to. Exactly. And then, but if you start to slide, like I was saying earlier, if you slide on those little things, if you don't, and I'm not saying nag, like there's a difference between nagging and like, I had a girlfriend once who she's so sweet. Girl space friend, by the way. But she had a boyfriend for like 3.5 years and was one of those that would break up right before holidays and birthdays.
Oh,
and,
lovely.
Like never brushed his teeth in the morning.
Ew.
Yeah.
What?
Never
That's
brushed his teeth.
the time to brush your teeth.
Yeah. Never brushed his teeth in the morning and wouldn't make his bed. And it really like, she's like, I can get over the messy bed because I can just throw the covers over it, right? But like, I have to kiss him and his breath reeks. And I'm like, just tell him to brush his teeth. Mm-hmm. Tell him that you want like, if you want flowers from a guy, this is the thing too. I've said this previously. I don't know if you three are going to agree with me or not, but there is also this thing inside of women where we want something, but we want you to want to give us that something. So we don't want to tell you to do that thing because then we think that you're only doing it because we asked and not because you wanted to.
Yeah. Right, let me interject really fast. So I don't know if you saw this, Lady G. Yeah, we're ramping up here. So on my Instagram, a couple months ago, I had just gotten out of my small group and it was still dark here when we got out, like super dark. And my church's parking lot abuts the Arroyo. And there are always crazy people like smoking God knows what out there. And it's kind of scary walking out of my church to get to my car. And all of the guys, a co-ed small group led by a much older couple who are shepherding all of us. And none of those young men offered to walk me to my car. And I was so annoyed by that because I was like, guys, you're all in the military. Like, why is this so hard to understand that you should just offer?
That's surprising.
I'm not asking you to ask me on a date. I'm just asking you to help me get to my car safely. That's all I want.
UCMJ, all of them.
Sorry?
I said UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. Like, that's out of standards with it. Just give them. Is Max still in the chat? Is it in Article 11? I can't remember what it is.
I with that.
Hang on.
Anyways,
I have a husband over here. What's the one? failure of officer and a gentleman? Is that 32? What is that? Max, where you at? God dang it.
I don't
Where
think
is
Max is here.
O's are
It
never
doesn't
around
matter.
when you need them.
So anyways, what I did is like what I put up on my Instagram was like, should men walk women to their cars when it's late at night, when they have a far distance? Like, should they do that? And the overall response was yes, but a lot of women were like, we need to tell men we want them to do that for us. It's not a flirty thing. It's not a hitting on thing. It's a, hey, you're walking to your car. We're not in the best area of town. Let me just make sure you get there okay. And it was incredible to say, like, see how many people, like, men were like, yes, we should be doing that. But then a lot of women came back and said, we need to express that. And so I thought that was like fascinating, and it put me in my place, because I was like, you know what? I haven't never expressed that I would like to be walked to my car to make sure I get there safely. Like that's on me. And so I thought that was like a really interesting, yes, it should, but we need to articulate it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a lot of it too is it's no longer, it used to be an automatic thing, right?
Yeah.
It used to be automatic. And I don't care what anybody says. We didn't have to tell you, hey, it's 9 p.m. and it's dark outside. Do you think maybe you could just walk me to my car? We never, even growing up as young as I am, we never right there.
Yeah.
The Me Too movement,
it's a big part of it.
The feminism outbreak over the last 10, 15 years, all of that has killed every single. So now we have to
that
say,
drop in expectations.
Can you walk me to my car? Because there's like bullets flying, and I just like safely.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of Iraq. Could you just maybe? No. Okay, it's fine. We didn't have to do that. Never.
No, but again, it's just like what we were talking about earlier, that drop in expectation. Nobody held them to that expectation, so they didn't live up to it because it was not expected of them any longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've trained the feminists crack me up because like Tommy Lahren, and she's more on like conservative side, but I'm gonna tell you right now, Tommy, I adore you. I really do. And you're never gonna watch this. I'm talking to you like you are, but you're never going to. If you are a man, you are a woman, and you dress very feminine, and you're very pretty, and you put on the makeup, and you're physically feminine, but her mindset is very masculine. That's why she can't find a good guy, or in her opinion, a good guy. She can't find a good guy. She can't find that masculine man that's gonna throw her over his shoulder while he's marching across the battlefield, or whatever it is that she's looking for, because that's not what attracts. That's not what's attracted to her. She's getting men that are mousy and that are probably more quiet and kind of like, oh, hey, golly gee whiz, Clark Kent, that kind of a thing. She is too masculine. She's got to chill. I'm honestly surprised. Actually, if you look at Candace Owens, same thing. Her husband's a bit of a wishy-wash. They really are.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's
I got
that's Tommy's problem, and I see it, and I can call it out because I've been there. But that's Tommy's problem, is she's way too in your face.
Yeah. I'm also that way, but like the thing is too, my husband isn't scared of, this is going to sound so wrong. Like because I think Tommy's actual problem is she's never been in a position where she felt where she never felt safe enough to be submissive. Because when you, like, if you guys have watched Antonio Banderas in that dance, is Take the Lead.
Oh, yeah.
That dance movie. And he says it takes just as much strength to follow as it does to lead. You have to feel protected and safe in order to relent that type of, to give, that's the thing. Like with women, like men give us their trust. That's their thing. They trust us not to go out and, act stupid or act floozy or, cheat on them or whatever. But we are expecting them to protect us, like to give over that transfer of power to make us feel safe enough to sort of submit in a situation. That can be really tricky. And I think probably the reason that my husband was only my second boyfriend ever is because, so my first relationship ended very quickly because we were like, we're better as friends. And so when I started dating my husband, he was just very assertive. Like if I didn't make a decision, yes, he was a man. He's in the background listening. But he was just really assertive. And I was like, I don't know if I want Mexican food or if I want Chinese food. And he's like, Chinese food. And I'm like, and he's like, he goes, look, you need to eat. We need to make a decision. We're running out of time. It is time to eat. Let's go. But it wasn't that he didn't trust me. It's that he was like, he goes, you like both options. And if I had genuinely said, if it had been like that coin flip thing where I'm like, I actually really wanted Mexican food, he would have been like, okay, but your decision is, but you've made this decision now. You're stuck with it, right? Like that's sort of how it works. Because if you have a man who is not decisive and is, like you said, Tugs, wishy-washy, then you are going to have the problem of being no, nothing's going to get done, first of all, because you're going to be too scared to step on each other's toes, but also you're never going to have that fully open conversation. And so I think Tommy's actual problem is she's never been in a situation. I agree with you that she could probably find a little bit of humility or just like sort of tone down a little bit in some situations. I don't know her personally. Tommy, I love your stuff. I'm not saying anything horrific, but I've noted humility goes a long way. And as someone whose biggest sin is pride, oh my God, I have a hubris problem for sure. I've found that humility it's the virtue that counteracts that. So I always try to seek that in order to just save myself, but also the situation that I'm in. And when I do that, when I started actively doing that, I noticed a lot of positive changes in my life, including my husband. And so I think if Tommy could just find a place or a man who made her feel safe enough to submit in a situation.
Where are my poor choices people at? Where are my poor
I remember
choices
that.
people? I say this all the time. You do not ask a woman where she wants to eat. No, that is improper. Babe, we're going to go out to dinner. Where are we going? It's a surprise. Okay, cool. And then a little bit later, you're like, yes. Take a guess. And the first place she says, I don't care if it's freaking Taco Bell, that is where you're going. That is the secret. Nobody, Paul is based. Paul gets it. Paul knows poor choices. I have said that so many times. Well, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't sound good. And then like 20 minutes later, both of you are hangry and it just turns into a fight. No, babe, we're going out to dinner. Get dressed. Okay, cool. Where are we going? Guess. Texas Roadhouse. Yes, you got it. Wow, babe, you're so smart. That's where we're going. Boom. Food. Done.
Oh, yes. And also, if you just show up with food, you will also be the hero. Like, just show up with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell me I'm wrong, ladies. I know you're in the chat. Yeah, see, Lulu. Yeah, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Or just show up with food. I got dinner. Don't worry about cooking. Okay, and you show up with whatever. You can also never go wrong with margaritas and tacos. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, see, the thing, sorry, go ahead, Leish.
Well, I mean, Megan, you shared this on your, and I've found like several new accounts that I'm just like adoring on Instagram through what you've shared on your stories. That you shared that story, that Instagram post that, and I don't know if they meant like physically look up at a man, but like look up to a man in so much as that they're proud of him, that they're inspired by him or whatever it is. But a woman needs to look up at a man in order to feel comfortable enough to submit to him. And I think that like, and that balance allows us to fall into our femininity and allows a man to step into his masculinity, if that makes sense. Like, I thought that was a really interesting
like way. The trust. Like being able to trust a man enough to let your guard down and to not feel like you have to control and just like letting men trusting him enough to let him be the leader. So you feel comfortable enough following, because you're not going to follow someone you don't trust. You don't know where they're going. You don't have they proven themselves to you? Are they, like
well, yeah. Well, this is probably going to be an extremely, like, this is going to be I know this is going to be an extreme example. So I had a staff sergeant, and she was a female staff sergeant. This woman could do literally anything. She cranked out, God, I think at one point she hit like 33 pull-ups. She could run 3 miles in like 19 minutes. This woman was just an absolute machine. She was a mom, she was a wife, and she was a staff sergeant. She was a hell of a staff sergeant. And I talked to her one day and I was like, she's who I wanted to be. And I was like, how do you do it? I'm like, how do you just keep going? And I was like, you're so sure, you're so self-assured, you're so confident, and it's like you never make the wrong choice. And and she looked at me and she said something that will stick with me forever. She's like, do you know how much I wish I trusted one of these male staff sergeants to give them this responsibility? I don't want to be the one that decides who lives and dies. I don't want to be the one who decides who goes to drill and who doesn't. I don't want to be the one who decides things that can literally break some of these Marines that beyond repair. And she's like, but because none of these men, no matter how much I push them, are willing to step up and take that, I have to do it. She's like, I would love to give this over to someone else. But the times that I have tried, I have been devastatingly wrong. She's like, it is not that I've never made a wrong decision. It's that I have learned tragically from the wrong decisions that I've made. And so she was like, I wish I could just give this up, because this is a level of stress that I am not built for.
Yeah.
And to hear her say that was...
And that's why women shouldn't be in the military. I said it. I said it. Not on the front lines, anyway. Go ahead, be in the back, do your airplane thing and whatever the science stuff. Sure, fine. But
No.
I don't think women should be infantry, and that's exactly why.
Yeah, well, and I don't
Exactly
disagree
right.
with that either. It's not just that too. It's, have you guys? I mean, I had to do it, and I sucked at it. Like, I moved at probably a third of the pace as the males, because I had to pick up a 6'1" dude who was in full combat gear and drag his ass 100 yards. It took me 3 times longer than the other males. Like, it was bad. It was bad, and I was like, I mean, Christ, it's not like I was terribly out of shape. You know, it's not like I just rolled off the couch. I mean, it was just, it's just the truth. Because the other thing too is, now this other story is, they were in these 5 tons, which are basically just these really big, like, trucks. If you watch like military movies, it's the trucks with the covers over them, that kind of look like covered wagons, but motorized. So that's the best way I can describe a 5-ton in short notice. But basically what happened was, this sucker flipped and caught on fire, and there was female Marines inside, and the male Marines in the other 5-ton hopped out and tried to flip the 5-ton with their bare hands. Most of them got 2nd and 3rd degree burns and had to be medically discharged, but none of them died from smoke inhalation. Less than 100 yards away was the proper equipment to douse the fire and flip the 5-ton. All the female Marines died. The male Marines all suffered severe burns and had to be medically discharged. But because they were so focused on getting to the female Marines and just like base instinct took over, they didn't see the equipment. They didn't see, not a one of them. There were 17 of them. None of them saw it. Even the driver didn't see it.
Yep.
And like, for that to hit, because the thing is, it's not that women can't do the job. It's that we can't do it as fast. We can't do it as efficiently, and we are a distraction for the men. Period. End of discussion. It's not just an us thing, it's a them thing.
Yeah.
And they have done study after study after study. Yes, study after study after study has reinforced this. But feminists are fundamentally trying to flip this narrative. Look, I'm not saying that, especially if you have the element, the strongest thing a woman has on her side who knows self-defense is an element of surprise. But you go for certain areas to put him down so you can get out of that situation and get help. Because if he gets back up, chances are you are going down, because now you no longer have the element of surprise.
Yeah.
And it's just, these are basic facts. And what feminism is doing is putting women in harm's way needlessly. Because they're like, well, if you want to be big and like, you can be just as strong as the men. No, you cannot. The fastest woman in the world for the 100-meter dash, she doesn't even rank in the top 65 or in the top 100 of the male 100-meter dash. She's not even in the top hundo. Strongest woman in the world cannot lift as much as the strongest 45 men in the world. She's the strongest woman in the world, and she wouldn't even crack top 40.
Here's the thing. Like you just said, feminists are trying to rewrite this narrative that we can be all the things that men are, but that is us also fundamentally denying the very things that we are good at and that we are strong at doing. and that we are capable of doing, such as nurturing and caring and being like, a safe area for a man to come unwind. And you know what I mean? Like that's why like the title of the stream is Embracing Your Femininity, is because we're being told that we shouldn't want to do the things that we are like, that actually does make us strong. They're not strong of like our physique. It's strong. The strength of our character. And that's what I think is so infuriating, is like, and to get back to like the Rings of Power, that we're being told we should want warrior Galadriel instead of the Galadriel that comes to Frodo and counsels him. You know what I mean?
Wisdom. And have you noticed, and I mean, no offense guys, but to point this out, like, did you notice that as women started to slip down, like to become more promiscuous and care less about modesty and character and basically, good manners, the world has sort of slipped to Crapsville.
Chaos.
Yeah. Yep.
The fall of Rome.
It's just like, I don't know.
Fall of Rome. Go read about the fall of Rome. We are living it. Bum, 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 bum. Almost word for word. The men started dressing like women. All of the things, like literally go read any book, all of the books, all of them. Pick one about the fall of Rome. We are literally, I think we're about halfway. We're at the halfway point.
Well, that's why the coasts hate the middle of the country, because we call them out on their disgusting, vile behavior, and they keep trying to shove stuff into the middle of the country, and the middle of the country is firmly rejecting it. So I don't know how this is going to end or how this is going to go, but it's got to come to a head eventually, whether the pendulum swings back really hard the other way in a mostly peaceful manner, or if it's going to be Civil War number 2. I can't say yet, because you have a lot of people who still have that respect for human life and don't want to go into a full-blown war of altercation. But we are currently in a Cold War for sure, and it's gotten heated in a lot of places, and it's literally it's going to come down to who has the stronger will. Like, that's literally where we're at right now. And I'm going to call the middle of the country out too. I've said this before. Do not say that you don't start fights, but you finish them. Like your daddy taught you to, you never throw the first punch, but by God, you throw the last punch. I don't know if you have not been paying attention, or if you think that quietly retracting your monetary support from places is definitely something to do, but they have been aggressive on the offense. We have been getting pummeled for 10 rounds. You need to throw that punch back now, because like we're getting our asses handed to us. That's why I think Ripa's success today is so like it speaks on a different level, because there's all these people who are willing, like Leisure, like I was telling you before the stream, that's if he clears $1 million, that's $1 million that doesn't go to DC, Marvel, Disney.
Someone just put in the chat that he's just cleared 800,000.
Yeah, so he's probably going to clear $1 million by tomorrow afternoon.
Oh yeah,
and so it's like, yes, we are doing these things, but it's so incremental. I don't know if it's too late, but I do know that whatever we do, we have to be more offensive. We have to get on our front foot, because this being on our back foot and waiting for the punch to come so that we can throw the self-defense punch is not working. You can be on the offense without throwing a punch. It's very simple. I mean, it's what the Daily Wire has started doing. It's what Eric July just started doing. It's what FNT does every week, and what Main Event has started doing. And you're offering an alternative entertainment, but now you need to like step up and accept that you are on this culture war front, no matter how many people try to mock you. And you need to throw the damn punch.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. All right. Well, and no, I definitely agree. And that's why, again, like, everyone who follows my channel knows that I'm a Christian, that I stand boldly in my faith. The whole point, and God laid this on my heart like over a year ago. the whole point of this channel and what I ultimately wanted to do was exactly what we're doing right now, is having discussions about female things, about women, about womanhood, what it means to be a strong woman in today's society. That is ultimately what I wanted, the goal of my, and I'm so inspired by someone like Lauren Chen. If I could just be like half of what she is, she's just the smartest woman I think that's out there. I just adore her, and Carrie Smith as well. That was the whole point of this channel. So like, if you're thinking about starting a channel, I feel like it's almost a little silly at this point to say like, it started a YouTube channel. Like, what the hell is that going to do? No, I think we peaked around, 40 people. 40 people came in here and watched this, and I might have 100 more people watch it on the replay. So people want to hear these kind of discussions, and they want to hear this kind of thing. And it's important that we get more voices engaged in this conversation. So for sure, Lady G, I absolutely agree with you. We do have to end this stream at 7 on the nose my time, because I got stuff to do. So I did want to go over this article because I have a feeling that me and Tux are going to disagree on some of this. But I thought that this is an interesting place to end and have it as our final discussion, because I am not fond of rom-coms, and it's basically for this reason, and also that they have made casual sex so okay. Those are the issues I have with rom-coms. Now, the Hallmark movies that's a whole other subset of movies, and I think they are cute and wholesome, although they get irritating after a while. But I wanted to know what you guys thought of this article, and what you made of this, because they don't just pull in Hollywood. They brought in Shakespeare. They brought in Charlotte, the Bronte sisters. Like they brought in a lot of people that I was like, oh wow, okay, we're going there.
I hate the Bronte sisters.
Oh, okay, we can't be friends anymore. I love Jane Eyre.
They're not Jane Austen. I'm going to tell you that much.
I prefer Jane Austen for sure.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
Dude, the Bronte sisters, like, even their happy end. Jane Eyre is a terrible ending. Like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's
dark.
like bittersweet,
Oh,
heavy on the bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely, Rady. Absolutely. I so deeply appreciate your support, Lady. I would love to have you on the stream at a future date. So I will definitely be poking you on social media, because I would love to hear your takes. So Bronte sisters aside, what did you guys think of this article? Tux, I want to start with you, because I know we're going to disagree on this.
First of all, I can't take anybody seriously that thinks any of Nicholas Sparks's books are rom-coms. I really just can't. Not one. Not any of them. Ever. The closest I will give you is The Longest Ride. Really good movie. Scott Eastwood. All I need to say. As a cowboy.
Nicholas Sparks is the one where everybody dies at the end of his book, right? Where someone dies in the book.
The Notebook is where everybody, well, not everybody, but The Notebook is the one where the main characters, is telling their story from them as an older couple.
Yeah.
And I'll never forgive the movie for this, because the book, you don't know that until the end. And you're like, no! And the movie was like, so anyway, there's this big plot twist that we're going to reveal to you 10 minutes in. It's fine. Anywho, not one of Nicholas Sparks's books are rom-com. There's no com in the rom. There's zero. There may be like a line or two that's funny, but The Notebook, Allie and Noah have it's a heartbreaking ending. Well, I mean, it's a good ending because they're together, but they die at the end. There's the one that Zac Efron was in, where he's the military guy, and he finds this photo in the pocket of a soldier. He finds this photo on the battlefield, and like that photo saves his life and keeps him going. And it turns out that she's actually the widow of one of the guys in his platoon, and they end up falling in love, but they feel guilty about. There is nothing funny about anything Nicholas Sparks writes. So stop calling them rom. I freaking can't. Rage! They're not rom-coms. Just because there's a romantic, and I'm going to educate all y'all right now, just because there's a romantic storyline involved does not mean it's a com. Okay? I think we can all agree Romeo and Juliet's not funny.
Okay, fine.
Okay?
Fair enough. All right, I will give you that. But
I can't take this writer seriously. I really just can't.
Okay, but you have. I mean, but there is something to be said. And I agree with you, because you and I have gone back and forth on this. And Megan, feel free to interject here anytime you would like, my dear. But you and I have gone back and forth about this, about just romantic movies as a whole. But like, if you think of like even like You Again or Bridesmaids, which I hate that movie so badly.
Huh? What?
Okay, anyways, that even like
like
there's
that movie.
that cute one with Jennifer Lopez and Ralph Fiennes. I think it's called The Wedding Planner. Or no, she was
I
a maid.
love that movie. No,
Made in
she's-
Manhattan.
no,
You're thinking of Made in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Wedding
Manhattan,
Planner is
thank
with
you.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
But I don't like these films because there's just like they treat relationships as a whole as so casual, and that's what frustrates me about them. There's like, and I think even for all, like, once you see one Hallmark film, you've kind of seen them all. But the Hallmark is actually a better example of what real romance looks like, because there's a sense of honor behind what the story they're telling. I feel like a good portion of romance, there's an excessive amount of infidelity, and there's also just this casualness to sex that I just think is really detrimental to society as a whole. And so that's my ultimate issue with romance, is that, like, women, because Evie does these articles where, like, how bad hookup culture is, but then romance movies just seem to glorify that hookup culture is a good thing. So that's the disconnect I have with, does society need romance? Yes, but do they need that kind of romance? That's where I don't know.
Says the girl who loves Mr. Darcy, who treated What's Her Bucket like shit the entire book until the end, when he decided, you know what? I think maybe I might like that one after all. I could do better, but that's the one I'm going to choose. Boy!
But she had her own issues too.
What?
That's why it's called Pride and Prejudice. That's not a romance comedy.
Thank you.
That's
Definitely
not a
not
rom-com.
That's
That's
for sure.
a
Definitely not a
romantic
rom-com.
drama period
I never
piece.
understood the obsession with Mr. Darcy. And then I watched the movie and I still don't understand the obsession with Mr. Darcy. I'm like, he's kind of a jerk. Screw that. I will never. Oh, the lake house. The holiday. Oh.
He was emotionally stunted.
Oh, yeah, that's a word.
I
You know,
know the
the
Brits
Hallmark-
have that.
See, that's the thing too, Jacob, is the Hallmark movies. I love them. I worship them. Well, worship's a strong word, but I love them so very
I
much.
love them too.
Hallmark, I love
I
them.
think
However, they are super. There's this weird line. Okay. The unrealism in those movies. I know it's a movie. It's funny. It's to make you feel good. It's so cute. The flannel. Yay. 9 times out of the 10, the hot flannel wearing dad is married in real life. So careful. They're very unrealistic, where I think that if you think that all rom-coms or most rom-coms are all about infidelity, you need to watch more, because it's just not true. Hi, Rolo. Is that
Oh
Rolo?
my gosh,
Yes, I read the right one this time. I always get him and Joe confused because they're thinking.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, Rolo or Joe, whoever it is. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate that. Hold your thought, my dear. Cajun,
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna ban you from my chats.
Why? What happened?
Cajun Corey for $5. Great stream tonight. Pisha. All right, hold on. I gotta give.
I have to ask a question though.
You just made Johnny's whole life.
I am aware of that. I'm deeply salty about it. Hold on. Let me
Come on. Oh man.
Thank you,
Josh,
Corey. I don't like you. I
would
know,
like
right?
to. Never mind. I'm going to keep my comments about Josh Brolin to myself, but they are something. That man.
I have a question. Wait.
Yes.
So I know you've not seen. We talked about this previously, where you've not seen some like more classic Hollywood films.
Yes.
Oh, that was
Like,
such a good
Any
one.
of them at all.
Like any of them at all.
At
I think
all.
She saw My Fair Lady like twice, and that's it. It's
No,
devastating.
I have My Fair Lady memorized. Thank you very much.
You said a couple of times. Tugs, Megan, did she not say I've only seen My Fair Lady a couple of times?
Okay,
So
well, that
that's
was a
on you,
mistake.
Rach. All right, but have you ever seen like The Cutting Edge?
No, I don't know what this.
Oh my God in heaven. All right, no wonder you're so jaded when it comes to romance. You've just not seen good ones. What about a Cinderella story? Ever After? A Cinderella story? Drew Barrymore?
Oh, I haven't seen that in years. I have seen
Okay,
it, but I haven't
That's a
seen it in
good
years.
one. That's a good one.
Again, not rom-coms. Well, I get that one kind of walks.
That one's definitely a rom-com. It's got comedy in it. It's also dramatic. It's a romance comedy drama. There.
I think people are rom-coms are just because romance has comedy moments in it. It's not rom-coms are How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Made in Manhattan, God, what's the other? Basically every single Jennifer Lopez movie ever except for Enough and Selena. All of her rom-coms, the one that just came out with her and Owen Wilson, rom-com. Those are rom-coms.
I think you're being too narrow. In my personal opinion, I think you're being too narrow on the definition of comedy.
It's a specific genre. No, it's a specific genre.
Yeah, but wit is a form of comedy.
Ever After is a fairy tale. It's also a romance story. And you can also, I guess you could qualify it as a drama, but it's not a rom-com. Rom-coms are very, very specific. Just like there's a difference between comedy and slapstick comedy. Slapstick comedy is a very specific comedy. Jackass, 90% of Will Ferrell's movies, The Three Stooges. That's slapstick comedy. It's unnecessary stuff that you're like, do we need to do this? No, but we're doing it anyway.
It's Three Stooges. Yes, we needed to do it.
Yeah, that is slapstick stuff. Like,
yeah, but you also have wit, like understated, subtle humor, which should like the movie Music and Lyrics. Oh God, it's Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore. Maybe I just have a thing for Drew Barrymore, but like that's got more of like a witty, dry humor in it. Just because it isn't in the same vein of like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, where
I
funny
fucking
stuff.
hate that movie.
I like that movie.
I hate that movie.
But no, I get what you're saying. But I'm telling you, as a genre, rom-com is a specific to when you say rom-com and you say Pride and Prejudice is rom-com because the guy has this dry humor. No, that's not. Yes, it has comedy elements to it, but rom-coms are a very specific trope. They're a very specific kind of movie. That's why people who call The Notebook a rom-com are incorrect. It's not. I don't know how else to describe it. I studied this in film class. It's a very specific.
Where do you put 10 Things I Hate About You?
It's a rom-com.
That is way more of a drama than a rom-com. That's more in line with like The Breakfast Club than it is 10 Things or than How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
10 Things I Hate About You is there are movies that walk the line, and that one's a rom-com though. But that is more of a rom-com than anything.
All right, we're gonna agree to disagree on this, I think, and that's fine.
It's not even film. It's a film. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they've changed it. It's also Shakespeare. Yes, the Shrew, Taming of the Shrew.
Taming of the Shrew. Yeah.
I saw someone in here say that one of their favorite films is The Quiet Man. I'm blocking you. I hate that movie too. I stand that movie. Lots and Loaded Latinos has just subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Okay, but getting back on topic, because I love you both, but we can go on about this all night. Do you not think, because I'm sorry, I can't help but think that to a certain extent, these pumped out dramas have not aided society. Because like the thing is, here's the thing: they want women to desire men, but then they also are either like they're strong women, or they're just loose women who will be with anything. There just seems to be no sense of honor in any of these movies anymore. That is why, like, when y'all ask me, have you seen this movie? Have you seen this movie? Have you seen this movie? Now I understand like the MGM, like that classic era of Miller and Real, all of that. Yeah, I totally, absolutely 100% want to dive in. I've just never had the time. Like, that's always been a goal of mine. But like modern movies, there's a reason I stick to my books, and like I just don't care anymore because none of them seem to like have any wholesome qualities anymore.
Yeah. I honestly, I've never really liked a lot of most of the rom-coms, romance. I've always liked like action adventure. And then if there was like this small like storyline in there where they balanced some romance very
like
nicely.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like I liked that. And if I was gonna watch any romantic comedy or like drama, romance, it was like the older movies.
Yeah.
Like it really was.
Yep.
And it's so rare for any movie, like any newer movie, for me to actually like it. I don't
like how you whispered that, like they're gonna come after you. You're gonna
And
leap off of a
I've never
shelf.
liked Hallmark movies ever. I just can't like them. They annoy me because it's so. I just can't. I'm
Basically
sorry.
the same movie over and over with a different actor.
Yeah, that's not.
Y'all
But I
are
love them.
way-
They're my guilty pleasure.
Nah.
I love them. I love them so much. But they are very unrealistic in the sense that like it's more of like a fantasy type of this is
Yeah.
what women would love, to go back
Well,
home and
What's interesting
But-
is that like those women end up becoming, I feel like, embracing their femininity. Like they do end up like,
sometimes.
not all the time, yeah, but sometimes they do. They become that woman that we've been, trying to like kind of dissect on this stream. It's like that's what they become, and it's interesting that the Hallmark movies play into that, and just like the mainstream. And I guess why am I shocked? But it's just I don't know. I don't like modern films for a lot of various reasons, but that just they just are not helping things any at all, because it's the same plot over and over again, and all of these women are bitter, lonely, and upset about something. And I think it's because that they're trying to portray women as that we should simultaneously desire a man but also not desire a man, and it's very confusing. And Lady G, you and I have talked about this in books, that like these women simultaneously want a boy toy, but they're also strong women who can slay all the orcs single-handedly. So that's the ultimate issue I have.
Well, that's what I said. Like you have this weird duality going on, because you have this woman who can do all the things the men can do, but then she wants to be like, I don't know, like get graphic in the bedroom at the same time. Like it's these wine ants who are miserable and alone and don't have anything, like have no prospects going for them. They don't they their best prospect is to be the cool aunt, because they've missed their window, because they bought into this feminist lie that children don't make you happy, and that you like. I think the most horrific thing I have ever heard was when this feminist professor, while I was still in college, got up on stage and said that every woman in the world should have at least one abortion in their lifetime, so that they understand that being a mother isn't everything, and you can be so much more. And that way, if every woman in the world had an abortion, there would be no judgment on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good Lord.
Sitting there listening to her, she is unmarried, has no children, and went into a discussion after that about how making it to the top in your career she said it's lonely at the top for a reason, because these men that can keep up with you, they're already taken, and you don't want any other man that's intimidated by your ability to make money or to out earn him or whatever it is. And she's like, so it gets really lonely at the top, but you can sit there with the knowledge knowing that you've beaten them at their own game. And I'm like, those are words of a miserable woman. Yeah. You are all alone. Money don't keep you warm at night. I'm not saying that money isn't clearly people want to earn enough to, live, but is it worth having no children and having no companionship? And whether she believes it or not that she's better than everybody else, whatever she did to get there devalued her to other people to such a degree. She said that she has one friend that she talks to like every 3 months, because she doesn't have time. She doesn't have time to date. Men are a distraction, and all her friend ever wants to talk about is her beautiful family. And, she has no desire to talk about that because she has nothing to compare it to. Everything for this woman was a competition. Mm-hmm. She can't be like, oh, my oldest just won, his little league team just won their state championship, or my daughter just leveled up in ballet, or whatever you want to call it. She had her gripe that she presented was she has nothing to, she has no way to compete with that, is how she phrased it. But basically what she's saying is she cannot share in that type of joy because it reminds her of how lonely she is. Like the whole time this woman was on stage, I was just like, this woman is absolutely miserable with her life. and you can see it. It's all over her face. She's going to be 75, still working in an office. And when she drops dead, they're going to replace her. Yeah, she won't they're going to replace her.
Yeah.
She's completely and totally replaceable. She hasn't given of herself to the world in a way that's going to have a lasting impact, because she's not very she's like this woman. She literally said that charity, like, you can give the minimum amount per year to charity to qualify for a tax break, because you don't actually know how these charities are using your money. And so it's much better for you to just do the things that you want to do, or things that you really think are going to help people. Like, if you just buy everybody's dinner that night, you're probably helping at least one of them. And she's like, you can go about it that way. I don't disagree. If you can't force someone to be charitable, but to get up there and say to simply use it as a minimum for the tax break that you can get from it, and then use that to, again, compete with other people and brag, defeats the purpose of charity. Like, that is the antithesis of charity.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a bunch of these girls bought into it. A bunch of them went and picked up her book after the talk. A bunch of them were like, you're totally right. Like, I don't need kids to be happy. And I'm like, you are being lied to like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Roman. I so appreciate all of your support and all of my streams. It's so deeply appreciated. So have a lovely evening with Mrs. of the Empire. I will see you on the next one, my man. And you guys, you should go subscribe to Roman of the Empire. If one of my mods can actually drop his link, I would really appreciate that. He does a Thursday stream, and last Thursday he was super brave and did it all by himself. And I'm not there yet. So thank you so.
Yay, Roman!
Roman's doing awesome things, and I love his streams. So in any case, yeah, no, lady, I agree. And that's the thing.
I don't think.
Well, the thing is, I was going to say is, like, being at university, when we were sent home during the beer bug, I have spent the last 3 years deprogramming myself and to have stopped repressing my desire for children and to be a mom and to want the things that's God's natural gifts to us. Like, that's, it's taken a while for that to resurface. And I'm glad it has, because it's gotten me more in touch with my emotions, which I have had on lockdown for a long time. But there's the level to which women are lied to, that we shouldn't desire those things that are literally our gift from the Creator, is just like it. Yeah, it's very aggravating. And Tugs, I know you've waxed poetically about this many a time, about like how feminism has, we shouldn't desire to want to be stay-at-home moms and all that. So yeah, it's really it's super frustrating. So Megan, any thoughts, my dear?
Sorry, I zoned out for a minute. I do it all the time. Just your comment about deprogramming yourself, because like I had to go through that as well, actually, because I had this like definite man hating time of my life, for sure. And I wanted to do things that I thought you can't be a family person, right? And it's funny because I was like raised in like this homeschool family, and everybody has like 4 to 8 kids. It was crazy, but no. Yeah, deprogramming yourself.
Yeah.
Just from.
Well, and the thing too.
Cool.
Yeah, the thing too is like what your new program, like what your new goal in life apparently is. So people don't want to be a stay-at-home mom because it's not ambitious, and it shows lack of motivation or something like that, right? So the alternative to that is to work a job that you probably hate for your entire life, so that you can. So you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom because you don't want to do the dishes, the laundry, take care of the kids, raise the family up with your own personal values. Okay, so the alternative to that is go work a job that you probably hate to earn wages that are likely not commensurate to what you're actually capable of until you're 65, 70 years old, so that you can retire, so you can stay home, do laundry, do dishes, and take care of the grandkids. Like, do you not see the flaw in that logic? Because here's the other thing too. If you are a working mom, as I am, the dishes, the laundry, the rearing, the lawn work, the dusting, the getting everybody ready for school, getting lunches packed, it still has to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny. I saw this quote. It was, I don't know, it was just this breakdown, and I can't remember who posted it. I wish I'd saved it. It was a family was celebrating a woman's 90th birthday or something like that. She herself had 3 children. All of those 3 children went on to have 4 or 5 children themselves. And then all those children went on to have, and so she was surrounded by, at the end of the day, I think it was something like 50 family members of just all these people who kept having kids, and the family kept expanding and growing. And it ended on this beautiful note. No one said a word about her career, but they were like, look at the full life that she had lived, because she had so many grandchildren and great grandchildren, and she said like that was like one of the happiest days of her life. And it's like, what happened?
I have 21 first cousins.
Jeez.
So I'm all about the big family.
Sorry.
Sweet. I love it, Megan. We need bigger families.
No, I'm one of like 48 on my mom's side.
That's freaking fantastic. Yeah, it's 21 on my mom's side, and I think I've got like 11 on my dad's. It's good stuff. And now we're all having babies.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. Well, I hate to cut us off, but I have to hustle. I've got to scoot. Ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate you going on this endeavor with me. I'm going to get better at this because I was a little nervous about this tonight, but thank you to chat for everyone being here. Just, I can't tell you much. I was pretty nervous about this. Truth be told, I didn't know how this is going to go. And I think we're just going to expand our conversations from here, and we're going to keep having, a discussion about what it is to be a woman, and I think Matt Walsh would be proud of us. So
we're biologists.
Exactly.
Yay!
Thank you all, really, truly, so much. Every time you guys show up and support me, I can't tell you what that means to me. So thank you so much, ladies. I want to go around the horn and say goodnight, because we do also have little ones that need to get in bed. So Lady Gravemaster, where can people find you? And do you have anything special going on you'd like to shout out?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, chat. Y'all were amazing. Thank you for being here. Continue to support Elijah. She's amazing. And this talk was absolutely fantastic. Also, these 2 lovely ladies down on the bottom who are, holding up the stream right now.
Yes.
With their sheer awesomeness. Make sure that you go check them out too. They're amazing as well. You can find me on Instagram and back on Twitter, because the false flaggers could not kill me. I am not a bot. My account was resurrected twice today. But yeah, you can find me over there on.
Ad still doesn't have his back. Poor Az.
Twitter, Instagram, and of course I've got my YouTube channel here. I am currently working on a couple more in-depth videos, especially in regards to Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power, since Rings of Power is not Lord of the Rings.
No, it's not. Celeborn's dead. It's not Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm working on for Rings of Power, I'm talking to a couple historians and armorers, because I have a basic concept of military wear and tear on equipment and stuff like that. But I really want to make sure that I'm not misleading people when I give out this information. So that project's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But other than that, just my usual streams on Thursdays are for Nostalgic Nirvana, and I have my monthly Sailor Moon stream with Lethal, and we have a special guest this month that I'm super excited for and yeeing over. So that's pretty cool.
Sweet. Tugs, my dear, where can people find you, and if you got anything going on in particular you'd like to shout out?
We have tomorrow is our normal. I'm on Twitch mostly, and then Poor Choices, which is a YouTube channel. I might be missing. Normally we stream on Tuesdays. I might be missing that tomorrow. We'll see how that. I have a last minute appointment, but Wednesday is Poor Choices. Bachelorette comes back tonight. I believe we are having Miss Joe on Wednesday. I don't know if she's confirmed that or not yet, but we messaged Joe, Mrs. Rollo, for those of you in the chat.
Nice.
Joe,
Awesome.
to come join us for Bachelorette recap on Wednesday. It's going to be a dumpster fire because there's 2 bachelorettes all vying for the same men that they are both into, the same type of, and it's a mess. Anywho, so that's what we're doing on Wednesday. Other than that, I just wing it 99% of the time. So
Yeah. That's what we all do. Megan, my dear, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
Next month.
Yeah. Well, I just saw someone ask that maybe we should be more than once a month. So I will think about it. I'll reach out to you.
Oh, yes,
I also want to have. Yeah,
There's been a few people said that now.
What?
There's been a few people in chat said that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, if that's what people want, then I'm all for it. I do want to have like kind of a rotating panel. I want to have different voices on and stuff. So that person was me. All right, Ark. All right, I see you. Thank you, Ark. I appreciate the feedback. Mark is like, I will be acknowledged. So we'll see about that. Again, I would love to have Rady on. There are some other women I would love to have. My dream is to have like Force of Light and Dreaming Tabitha on if possible. I think that they would be excellent voices to have on as well. So,
great.
yeah, so they're Force of Light. God, I adore both of them. And again, Michelle's the one who introduced me to Redeeming Love. So anyways, Megan, my dear, where can people find you, and have you got anything going on that you would like to shout out?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, on what's it called, Twitter, and that thing that Lady Gravemaster got banned off of. I'm on YouTube under the Noob Reviews, and I do comic book reviews right now. I'm doing independent comics on Wednesday, and then I'm going through very old 50s, 60s, 70s DC and Marvel comics on Sundays.
The golden age.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing. And this Friday, I am with Pops on his channel, and we're just going to talk comic books.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Well done. Lady, you were just like, the first time I talked to you about doing a live stream, you were like, no, I can't do it. And now, like, look at you. I'm so freaking proud of you.
Aww,
You just like surpassed. You have blown up, and I am so proud of you. And just, you are doing such great things. So I am just so thrilled to see the leaps and bounds you have come since like that first conversation we had. Like, you're shining, and I'm so happy to see it. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. I so appreciate it. If this is something you want to see more than once a month, maybe we can do it twice a month, and that would be absolutely fantastic. Again, this was the ultimate goal of my channel, was to start having conversations like this. So I am very excited that you all want more of this. So yeah, we'll see where we go from here. And again, next Monday I will be streaming at I don't know why I can't. I think it was 8 p.m. Central, so that would, because it's 7 my time. So yeah, 8 p.m. Central will be the standard time now for this stream. Again, this was a one-time deal that I had to back it up a couple hours just simply because of what's going on in life right now. So next Monday it will be at 8 p.m. Central. And I will be announcing what that stream will be about and the guests that we'll be having on later in the week. So just keep an eye on my social media. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for the donations. Oh, and I got a $10 donation from my mom, but she's probably not even watching, so it's fine. Just put some hearts. That's fine. Again, she'll ask me to go get groceries or something with it. So thank you all again so much. I deeply appreciate it, and we will see you guys later.
Bye.